It's roughly 6 a.m. in Israel. A series of fighter jets take off, armed with long-range, high-precision missiles. According to CIA and Israeli intelligence, a significant portion of Iran's leadership has gathered at a compound in Tehran. Among them is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the country's supreme leader. 2 hours and 5 minutes after the jets take off, Israeli missiles strike the compound. This is how the Israeli and US attacks on Iran unfold, how the country's leader is killed, and what has happened since. By the time this video is published, new details might have emerged. The US, Israel, and Iran have a long history of tensions. Until 1979, Iran was an authoritarian monarchy ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. He was supported by the US. When his regime was overthrown in the Iranian Revolution, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini took control of the country and founded the Islamic Republic. He was determined to transform Iran into a country ruled by Islamic law. Khomeini abandoned the former Shah's pro-Western stance. The US and its close ally Israel were declared sworn enemies. Especially opposition to Israel became a strategic and ideological goal. Ruhollah Khomeini died in 1989 and was succeeded by Ali Khamenei, a cleric who quickly rose through the ranks and became a key figure in the country's religious leadership. Over time, Iran, Israel, and the US repeatedly engaged in conflicts. Sanctions were imposed on Iran. Iran became a key financier of anti-Israeli militias in the region. In 2002, it was uncovered that Iran was enriching uranium at 2 secret locations. The enriched uranium could be used for nuclear reactors or nuclear weapons, a fear that the US and its allies had long held. Iran has repeatedly denied any alleged pursuit of nuclear weapons. The US and Israel carried out many attempts to stop the nuclear program through cyber attacks, the assassination of key scientists, and especially in the US case, through diplomacy. In 2015, the Obama administration and the Iranian regime agreed to a nuclear deal. This was presented as a major diplomatic achievement, ensuring that Iran would not obtain a nuclear bomb. However, in 2018, President Trump withdrew from the deal, calling it a horrible one-sided agreement that should never have been made. Since then, relations have further deteriorated. In 2025, amid new negotiations, Israel and the US launched a series of airstrikes on Iran using bunker-buster bombs. 3 Iranian nuclear sites were heavily damaged. In the same year, Iran plunged deeper into economic crisis. The currency collapsed, food prices soared, and public frustration grew. By the end of 2025, mass demonstrations erupted across the country. Peaceful protesters and rioters called for the end of the Islamic Republic. Trump called for an uprising of the Iranian people against their government, saying help was on the way. However, the regime brutally cracked down on the protests, shutting down the internet nationwide. For days, almost no information left the country. In the end, thousands of people were reportedly killed and around 50,000 arrested. The US began building up troops in the region, while Trump repeatedly threatened Iran. On Thursday, February 26, a last-ditch diplomatic effort took place between the 2 countries in Geneva. It failed. On Saturday, February 28, around 9:40 a.m. in Tehran, Iran's capital, a government compound not far from Hua Square, reportedly housing offices of the Iranian presidency, the National Security Council, and the supreme leader, becomes the target of a major operation. Since 2025, the US has apparently gained specific intelligence on how Ayatollah Khamenei and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps communicate and move under pressure. Reportedly, the CIA has tracked Khamenei for months, mapping his whereabouts and studying his patterns. They believed he was at the compound that day, along with other senior officials. Originally, the US and Israel intended to strike at night under cover of darkness, but they reportedly changed the timing. The opportunity was considered too valuable to miss. Suddenly, Israeli missiles hit the buildings. During the impact, several national security officials were inside one of them, while Supreme Leader Khamenei was reportedly in another. Afterward, satellite imagery showed heavy damage to the buildings. Thick black smoke rose from the compound. Geo-verified footage also showed massive smoke in the area, along with photographs taken at the site. Ali Hosseini Khamenei reportedly died in the attack. Also killed were Sayed Abdurrahim Mousavi, Chief of Staff of Iran's Armed Forces; Ali Shamkhani, Head of the Supreme National Defense Council; Mohammad Pakpour, Commander-in-Chief of the IRGC; Aziz Nazirzadeh, Defense Minister. According to Israeli news, a total of 30 senior Iranian officials were killed in just half a minute during the opening strike. The operation was dubbed Roaring Lion in Israel and Epic Fury in the US. It had been planned for months. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian survived. Ali Larijani, Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, vowed that Iran would fight back and assured continuity of governance. The strike on the government compound was only the beginning. Afterward, Israel reportedly destroyed Iran's air defenses, especially around Tehran. In the third wave, Israel deployed roughly 200 fighter jets, bringing much of its air force into Iranian airspace. The goal was reportedly to destroy as many Iranian missiles as possible, as quickly as possible. The US reportedly joined about 30 minutes after the initial attack. According to the New York Times, US strikes focused on eastern Iran, far from Israel. They also targeted the Iranian fleet. US warships fired Tomahawk cruise missiles, while ground forces used artillery rocket systems. Several military and command centers in Tehran were hit by Israeli airstrikes. Further explosions were reported across multiple Iranian cities. Netanyahu made a similar statement. Shortly afterward, an airstrike hit the Sarajevo Tayyibi Elementary Girls' School in Minab, Hormozgan province. Iranian state media claimed at least 175 people were killed, most of them likely children. These numbers have not been independently confirmed. According to the New York Times, the school is located near an Iranian naval base. The US Central Command announced an investigation. Iran launched Operation True Promise 4, and retaliatory strikes began. Countless missiles were fired at dozens of sites across the Middle East, including more than 200 missiles launched at Israel. In solidarity with Iran, the Houthis in Yemen announced they would resume attacks on shipping lanes in the Red Sea, ending a 3.5-month pause following the 2025 Gaza ceasefire. The US-led coalition reportedly intercepted several drones and missiles heading toward Erbil in Iraq, where US forces are stationed. Later reports mentioned explosions near Erbil International Airport. That afternoon, Dubai International Airport was hit by an Iranian drone, striking Terminal 3 and effectively shutting down UAE airspace. Several luxury hotels, including the Burj Al Arab and Fairmont Palm, were set on fire. It remains unclear whether this was a direct strike or caused by debris from intercepted missiles. In Bahrain, missile and drone attacks hit near the US Navy 5th Fleet headquarters. In Qatar, 66 ballistic missiles were reportedly fired, injuring at least 8 people. In Saudi Arabia, Prince Sultan Air Base was targeted but intercepted. In Jordan, dozens of drones and missiles were shot down. In Kuwait, airport terminals were struck. In Syria, missile debris killed civilians. Both Qatar and Saudi Arabia reserved the right to respond. The Arab League condemned Iran's actions. NATO raised alert levels across missile defense systems. Experts warned that Iran may activate sleeper cells in Europe and North America. The US justification, as stated by Trump, was preemptive defense against imminent threats. However, critics argue that Iran did not pose a direct threat to the United States. Iran's nuclear program, according to US intelligence, was still years away from weaponization, and its missile range does not reach the US mainland. This raises the question of whether this was a war of necessity or a war of choice. Under international law, preventive war is widely considered illegal. There are also debates about whether the US president acted without congressional approval. Protests erupted across the US and globally. Oil prices surged, raising fears of a global energy crisis due to tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. Inside Iran, reactions were divided. Some celebrated the collapse of leadership, while others mourned. A provisional government was formed amid ongoing conflict. Casualty estimates remain unclear. US sources report 3 American soldiers killed and 5 seriously injured. Other reports list casualties across Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, Lebanon, and Iran, though verification is difficult. The Iranian Red Crescent reported at least 555 deaths and hundreds injured. The situation remains highly unstable and is expected to escalate further.